Hi guys, it's Carrie again. So here's an interesting question. How many videos does each YouTube channel have with at least 10 times more views than the channel's current subscriber count? So for example, if you have a YouTube channel that's at 1,000 subscribers right now, the question is asking how many videos do you have with at least 10,000 views? As another example, if you've got 50,000 subscribers, how many videos do you have with at least 500,000 views? Because 500,000 is 10 times 50,000. You get the gist of it. So that's the question. And before I show you the results, I want to say this. Having a very high number as an answer or a very low number as an answer is not a good nor a bad thing. Because, there's pros and cons to both. If you have a very high answer, that just means that you're very good at reaching a new audience and user base outside of your subscriber bubble, and you're just very good at grabbing new random viewers from across the internet. If you have a very low number, it just means that you're very good at converting your viewer base into subscribers and turning them into loyal people who will keep tuning back in, and that loyal, cohesive bubble is your way of effectively building an audience. So with that all out of the way, let me show you the results. I randomly picked just a bunch of channels that popped into my head first, and then I categorized them into these very general genres, such as cooking or fitness or technology. And the first takeaway is that for a ton of these channels, the answer is 0. Which makes sense because, a lot of these channels are around 1 million subscribers or so. In order to score a single point, they would have to pull in 10 million views for one video, which is just a number so much larger than the fan base that they've already accrued that it would just have to be a huge hit to get to that 10 times level, So you can be an insanely successful YouTuber, like T-Series, the biggest channel of them all, and still score a 0, because as your subscriber count rises, the harder it is to score a point. But as we scroll up, we can see that fitness channels tend to at least score 1 point. If you have a single viral hit, you will score a point. Kids channels do really well because, kids are watching on their iPads over and over again. Lonely Girl 15 is a really old school channel that seems to have racked in a lot of over 10 times subscriber count view counts. But out of the dozens of channels I checked, somehow, out of everything, jacknjellify is somehow the winner. And the summary of all of it is that jacknjellify has 30 YouTube videos with at least 10 times more views than its subscriber count. And before I move on, let me just prove that. So right now, I feel very blessed and honored because 895,000 of you have chosen to subscribe and follow along with this silly animation journey that me and my brother are on. And that's just so many people. But what is this question asking? 10 times that. So 10 times 895,000 is 8.95 million because we're just moving, we're adding a 0 to the end of it. And how many BFDI videos or jacknjellify videos have over 8.95 million views? Let me move my little face cam over here. So obviously the first video, when you sort by most popular, is BFDI 1A, the first episode, and it easily passes the 8.95 threshold with 60 million views. But you can see the entire first row is also past that threshold. So we have 5 videos that qualify for a point. That's 5 points right there. But then we also have the entire second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, and sixth row. Now at the end of the sixth row is the 30th most viewed jacknjellify video, which is BFDI 13, Don't Lose Your Marbles. And how many views does it have? Well, it's got 8.96 million views, which is ever so slightly greater than 10 times 895,000 subscribers. So it qualifies as a point. But then the 31st most viewed video falls below that because it's down to 8.8 million right here. So there's the proof. You can double check me if you want. but this 30 is correct. And you can also double check the rest of these numbers. I might be off by 1 or 2, but the general picture still stands. I think the takeaway of this, you can also see there's a bunch of really high numbers for other object show channels and for music channels. But the takeaway that I discovered, at least, is that object show channels in general, and especially jacknjellify, have a very hard time converting viewers into subscribers. And I think that partially comes down to there being a very active young kid viewer base who just aren't aware that subscribing is even an option. Also, with the fact that a lot of these animations are sort of like eye candy and you want to watch them again and again and again. And a lot of these kids can add in a lot of views, but don't add many subscription counts, which ends up with this really out of whack ratio that you see almost nowhere else on the platform. So I think that's interesting. In an earlier take of this video, I actually talked about this for over an hour, and I just want to keep it more concise so I don't bore you guys. But basically, you guys can see that I left out a lot of YouTubers, right? You know, I was just thinking of the first YouTube content creators that came to mind, but you viewers, if there's any YouTuber you can think of, you know, in any genre, any country, any language, whatever, that you think should be on this list somehow, you can help contribute by just going to their channel, looking at their subscriber count, adding a 0 to multiply by 10, and seeing how many videos are above that threshold. And then we can try to see if anyone actually beats this 30 record. I'm almost certain that there's a channel out there that does. I just haven't done enough sleuthing and searching to find it. But yeah, okay, before I end this video, one last thing I wanted to say is, why is this important? Because sure, jacknjellify's subscriber count is proportionally lower per video view than normal, but like, why does that matter? Because, you know, if the views keep coming, it's almost as if this subscriber count is just irrelevant. Well, the way I think of it is, both the outside world and the inner YouTube world, a lot of people sort of judge your noteworthiness based like on how important your YouTube channel is, based only on your subscriber count. Because whenever you search any channel, such as Cocomelon, you get a little preview that tells you the subscriber count and not much else. So it's not like people are ever going to look at this number and give it any merit. And what I feel happens is that it could easily be the case that there's a huge kind of underlying class of kids who, you know, maybe grew up watching BFDI content, which is like an amazing thought to me, that like there's, you know, maybe tens of millions of you, but this number doesn't accurately represent that. So, you know, what ends up happening is, like, when YouTube wants to figure out like what does the audience want next, they're just gonna like ignore or dismiss this, which is, you know, partially why it's like I'll never be on a VidCon panel. Not that like I need that, and I'm not saying that I'm like entitled to that, because like if that never happens, I'm cool with that. I'm happy with being in this lane. I like being in the BFDI lane and not the mainstream lane. But it, like, if you wanted to know kind of the explanation for why there's so little overlap between the amazing giant object show world and the outside general mainstream YouTube world, I think it comes down to these ratios being so different. You know, a lot of gamers who have gone mainstream, you know, they're used to seeing like super high subscriber counts. And so, you know, maybe subconsciously, when they try to find people to work or collaborate with, they subconsciously think, if you're under 1 million, I don't really want to associate. Or like, you know, if you're above 10 million, that would be really nice. I mean, I know that no one thinks that binary. Most people sort of have a spectrum, or like there's more to like who they care about. But like as a kind of bias, that definitely has an effect. And I think that seeing that number under 1 million for some big YouTubers will turn them off, whether they want to admit it or not. And I just wanted to find a way to quantify that, a way to measure it. And I think that this is a really fun way to do it, because it's very easy, very simple to understand, and you guys can help out too. I don't think I'll upload the 1 hour earlier take because it's really boring. I think this kind of sums up everything I want to say. So yeah, in the comments below right now, think of your favorite YouTuber or your least favorite YouTuber, or even your friend who has a really small YouTube channel, because that will help add to the data set too. And then in the comments, just type their YouTube username and then find that special number. And I'm going to call that number the 10 times subscriber threshold. I can't think of a fast name. I previously considered calling it the supple bubble burster count, but that's kind of weird as well. This whole lingo doesn't matter. Just focus on this. I'll just call it the 10 times subscriber threshold video count. So just type like jacknjellify : 30, pinkfong : 3, but with your own channels. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye!